From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Another quick reminder how you can get Weather NorCal. Of course, you can go to weathernorcal.com. We got a YouTube page, youtube.com/weathernorcal. Also available on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick is the 24-hour streaming channel. That will be coming to Apple TV soon. And if you have an Android or an Apple device, there's an app for that. And of course, you can go to search for Weather NorCal and get that app for free. In fact, all of the information that you get from Weather NorCal is 100% free, no matter how you get that information. Now, we take a look at the inland highs, and they're going to be going up and down here over the next 7 to 10 days. No big heat waves through at least next week, if not longer. And I'm still tracking the potential for some thunderstorms, mainly in the mountains, and in particular, maybe even some of the inland areas as well. We'll get into some of the latest forecast model data and what it all means for us here in just a second. But let's take a look at our forecast for today. Inland about 93. The coast, temperatures in the mid-60s. No big surprises there. No big changes. Temperatures will be in the low 90s for places like Weaverville, Hayfork, and Lewiston. Probably in the 80s, though, for places like Ruth, for example. Looking at your temperature trend here for Trinity County, this really is an exact carbon copy of what we saw last week, the trend. We saw a cooling trend that peaked on Wednesday, just like last week. We're going to see that again this week. Temperature-wise, about the same as well. It dropped down to about 90. Then after Wednesday, temperature started to increase. And by the weekend, it got pretty hot again. That's exactly what we're looking at this week as well. So kind of interesting how we're seeing this trend up and down, and it seems to be kind of repeating itself on a weekly basis, at least for the last week. But there you can see some of the clouds up to our north, some clouds off to our north and west. This is some cooler air that's going to be pushing through the Pacific Northwest over the next few days, giving us those cooler temperatures I was talking about. Now let's talk about the potential for thunderstorms. Now yesterday, and even this morning, the forecast model data was showing that by Saturday, we were even seeing some activity around Humboldt County and maybe even close to Del Norte County and pretty much all of Trinity County. You see how it's kind of backed off? And it's mainly a lot of the same areas we saw last weekend. Siskiyou County, Northern Trinity County, Modoc, Lassen, Plumas counties, and of course the Sierra as well. Now we'll take you into Sunday. It looks like it's a little bit more intense, but it's mainly off into the Northern Sierra and Southern Cascades, but looks like even Trinity County and some of the mountains of Shasta County, but still keeping Del Norte and Humboldt County out of it. Again, that's the latest forecast model data. Remember yesterday, that wasn't the case. Even Del Norte and Humboldt, we're seeing some activity here. So bottom line, what we can take from what we were just looking at is the potential is there, but the timing, intensity, and even placement of where it will be still yet to be determined. So we'll be watching that very closely and keep you informed throughout the week. Here's what our visibility is looking like later this afternoon. Could see some clearing already. Started to see some of that along the coast. By tonight, tomorrow morning, most of us see that fog return and see some patchy clearing out there for your Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, no big shocker there. We've got more of the fog. And then in the afternoon, maybe some patchy clearing, but maybe having a hard time in some spots. Here's some of the marine alerts here. There is a small correct advisory for all of these areas until 2 a.m. Wednesday, just off the coast of Crescent City, over the ocean here until 9 p.m. Tuesday. And we can also see until 3 a.m. on Tuesday off the coast of southern Humboldt County. Something to kind of keep in mind. And here's the reason why. Take a look at these wave heights as we're taking to tomorrow morning. They're getting upwards of 8 feet, getting close to 9 feet in some spots here. So they are increasing overnight into tomorrow morning, but should drop slightly as we take you into Tuesday afternoon. Here's your marine forecast for today. Your winds will be from the north at 5 to 15 knots. Your waves from the north at 5 feet at about 6 seconds. Now, of course, your low tide was at 10:49 this morning, and your high tide will be at 5:42 this afternoon. And there is that small correct advisory, of course, those areas I was just mentioning to you. Let's take a look at our forecast here, and the forecast is pretty much calling for those temperatures to be in the low to mid 90s, pretty much anywhere you go inland and for Trinity County, with the exception of Trinity Center with a high of 86 and 81 out in Ruth. Garberville, a high of 89, Shelter Cove 76 and 73 in Trinidad. Here's a look at your 7-day outlook, and you can see, of course, temperatures dropping. The peak of the cooling trend, as I mentioned, will be on Wednesday. Temperatures start to climb again, and really we're not seeing much of a spread between Trinity County and the inland areas. Typically, the inland areas are a little bit cooler than many of us in Trinity County, but that's not the case here and hasn't been the case over the last week. Looking at your 7-day outlook for Eureka, mid-60s, no big shocker there, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Overnight low should be in the mid to upper 50s, and of course seeing that morning fog with some days better than others, seeing some of that afternoon clearing.